My original idea was to show you a simple way to draw and paint iris on silk, but in the process of making this video, my idea changed because I got carried away with the detailing, and the emphasis will end up being on the fine refinements. But since I still have the part where I show a fairly simple iris drawing, I decided to leave it in this video too. The first stage of the drawing, everything should be simplified, divided into large parts, and then these large parts divided into smaller ones. And here we have three parts. The opened iris consists of a bud. I don't know exactly what this part is called, but let it be a bud. Upper petals and lower petals. So here we have three basic parts of the flower. The outlined upper part, in which I first mark the central axis of one of the petals and then begin to concretize it. This is where the bottom petals begin. They are about the same size as the top petals, and first I give them their overall size and placement. This is where they unfold. That their growth was first pointing upward, and then they went sharply downward. I decided that the first petal would be opened to us, and the right petal would sort of be turned in profile. When the flower is outlined in the sketch, then you can proceed to a more careful and detailed elaboration of the drawing. But just in case, I will leave you the drawing on the grid. My resist is already applied behind the frame. For painting, I will need round brushes. It's desirable that they have sharp, thin tips, and this is the color of dyes I chose. Maybe I will add some more color later. Notice that paper towels are very important in today's art tutorial. First, I wet the iris with water because I'm going to paint on wet silk. But now I remove the excess moisture. I'm going to start painting from the main petal with a gentle light color. Let the upper petals be beige, grayish, quite light, and the lower ones will be a different color. In irises often the upper and lower petals are different in color. I remember that our art teacher taught us that an eraser is as much a tool in drawing as a pencil. And following this analogy, a paper cloth is as much a tool in silk painting as a paintbrush. And so, like I mentioned before, we need paper tissue. Sometimes it's not necessary to change the color and its saturation, but it's enough to dry the brush with paint on a napkin, so that the paint doesn't spread so much. I actually think being able to feel the degree of wetness of the brush is a fantastically important thing, the mastery of which will take you to a new level of silk painting. So you can see that even though the silk has been wet with water, my strokes don't merge into one overall stain. But in some places it's the other way around, to unify these disparate strokes, and that's when I blend them with water. I will leave the upper petals to dry for now and move on to the lower ones. I need a nice ochre for them. it's too red, now too yellow, and now I mixed a little of it with the grayish paint that's on the palette, a little diluted with water, and got the color I need. Very often the lower petals of irises at the base have a distinct yellow color, but I liked it to be muted, so it would better cooperate with the main color of iris. And still I'm missing my favorite crimson color to get a beautiful purple. Even though this is the beginning stage of the painting, but I'm getting pretty detailed with the flower. And thanks to drying the brush on a paper towel, I managed to keep some of the strokes separate. If you apply a darker color in these curves, you will get a voluminous effect. To be honest, I didn't know how to paint these hairy parts of iris. I think they are called beards. So I decided to just paint them with dots and let them dry for now. So far I'm painting the bud, or whatever it's called, changing the color from cooler to lighter to darker to warmer, but in a few moments we'll get exactly to the details. I'm checking how dry the silk is in this area. At this stage we will very often need an almost dry brush. Very carefully, very gently, I'm going to paint more distinct and fine veins. And here it's very important not to make the color very active and contrasting, but so that the veins are organically and delicately woven into the surface of the petal. These details I can paint with a more wet brush, and they got more round, and on the lower petals too. When the yellow dots are dry, I apply the dark blue ones in the lower part, trying to reach the effect of firmness. And I think they turned out pretty. Perhaps the lower petals could be left without detailing, but by adding a few veins, emphasizing the waviness of the petal, we can make it more complete. I wish you good luck with drawing and painting a fine detailed iris. Please leave a comment of how you succeed. I'll see you in the next video.